Okay, Jim. First off, best of luck this weekend when you go to national championships.
Thanks.
Looking back to last year, you guys placed 7th here in your own backyard at last year's national championships, and you guys played strong against some tough competition. What do you believe will be the key this year to improve on last year's performance?
I think the guys who played in last year's tournament learned a lot, and they made them hungry for this season. So as we've gone through the season, they have just looked back at last year and said, okay, what can we do better each game? So I think while we could still end up in 7th, we also could end up in 1st. I think this team has got that level of energy and belief in themselves and each other. You know, I think that's the thing that this team has that last year's team didn't have. It's a smaller group, and I think that helps in some ways because it's made them a closer group. We had some really good talent last year, but it wouldn't mesh. And this year, it just, even with the injuries and the size of the team, this team has really meshed, and I see us doing quite well. Whether we finish 1st or 7th, I think this will be a better tournament for us.
Okay. You've played most, if not all, of your competition already this year. What have you seen from those teams, and who do you see being top contenders?
Well, I think Texas Arlington, they're number 1 in the nation right now. I don't see that changing going into the national tournament. I think they're going to be the toughest team to beat. They're really deep. I think that's the biggest thing with Texas. They have 10 deep, and when I say 10 deep, any of those 10 guys could start on any other team in the country. So that makes them very difficult. They play a little different brand than everybody else. They're really a run and gun team, which is a little out of character for the college division. So when we played them in the last game of the season, it was a shock. The first 10 minutes of that game, our guys had to wake up and catch up to that speed. And then the last 30 minutes, they played even with that team. So that's the team, though, I see to beat. Whitewater at home. Whitewater's always tough. They're the 3-time reigning national champs. They're not going to give up easy. They're ranked 2nd, and I think that Jeremy Lottie, their coach, does a great job coaching them, getting them prepared. The fans, like we had last year for our Edinboro games, it's going to be packed in that gym, and if we win our first round game, that's probably who we'll see in the semis. And that's probably going to be, that might even be a tougher game than if we played Texas in the national title game. But I think this year, more than anything, I've seen a group of teams that are really almost even. On any given day, anyone can beat anybody else, including Texas. Missouri beat Texas for their lone loss. It was a 4-point game out in Kansas in January, and we tried to use some of that same formula when we played them. Like I said, we didn't start playing until the 10-minute mark, but that seems to be the way to neutralize them. But every other game, most of the season for all teams has been within 10 points, win or lose. So I think it's going to be a real battle, and I think anybody could really have a shot this year for the first time in a long time. So
you had touched on it before, but you still have a good nucleus of players from last year. Talk about some of those returning players and who you see having a big weekend.
Mike Adams is just starting to get hot. He's a 2-time All-American, and what people probably don't realize about Mike sat out our January tournament in Kansas, and we thought that was going to have a big effect, and what I think it did was made our team less reliant on Mike. When Mike came back, then we struggled to get him back into that groove, and the tournament in Illinois, he was sick the whole tournament. We didn't really disclose that as much as he came in. He had that flu that was going around, and he played through it, and when we went down to Alabama, you could just see Mike Adams being Mike Adams, and he was just drilling the hole. Defensively, he's become probably our best defensive player, so I expect a big weekend out of Mike. Last year he had a great weekend here, and the year before in Missouri he had a great weekend. This is Mike Adams' time. I think Kevin Atherley is going to be an interesting piece of the puzzle. Kevin has had some incredible games. He set our season single scoring record this year at 35 points. So he's capable of doing that, and he did it against Southwest Minnesota State, which is a very good basketball team. So I think that if Kevin comes out with that mentality, there's probably only 1 or 2 players in the country that can stop him, and we may not see those players. So Ayuba Ali, though, is the person who stirs it all. He's our point guard. He's got a 5-to-1 ratio of assists to turnovers, and so his scoring is maybe not as high as some might think it should be, but he was just the recent player of the week, and there's a reason for that. he understands when he has to pull the trigger and when he's supposed to make the pass. He gets everybody involved. He does a lot of the dirty work on the defensive end with Mike, and he's a special player that sometimes gets overlooked because of Mike and Kevin, and then there's Chase. And Chase does so many things well for a freshman, and yet he's still a freshman and does so many things that we have a long time to work on. Will Speed, our fifth starter, like a Yuba, does all the dirty work. If Kevin's getting in the paint, it's because of Will Speed. It's not because of Kevin. We run a seal play for Kevin, and it's all Will. He's what we consider a class 1. It's the lowest classification, so he's not going to score points. His job is to make sure that he plays solid defense on his man and to make sure that Kevin gets as close to the basket as possible. If he needs to take a shot, then okay. But his last tournament he shot 50%, so he took the right shots, which is an improvement. Our bench is going to be interesting. Seamus has come off the bench the last 8-9 games. Seamus could start. He's someone that gives us an extra shooter outside. He's got energy that is perfect for coming off the bench. I don't know that he adjusted to that role right away. He's learned to kind of fall into that role and understand that this is what I do now. I come off the bench, I give us some energy, and I give us some extra points. Zach is probably the one player that won't see a lot of minutes in nationals. He's aware of that as a freshman that is still trying to figure out the game, and he backs up Will and Mikey. So those are two guys that are tough to get off the court.
You had talked about Chase before, but you've got to be happy with the progress he's made over his first year. What role do you see him playing at the national championships?
Well, Chase is going to do a lot of things for us that will only improve with time. But for the national tournament, I just see him continuing to be that guy as our third ball handler. Get involved with the offense. When him and Yuba work the same side, then he actually takes the ball from Yuba. That means he's going to shoot. The one thing we haven't gotten through to Chase yet is that sometimes you pass the ball. But he's become a pretty good shooter, so we don't say a whole lot. I think the other thing that Chase adds is that teams now have to recognize him and have to defend him almost as hard as they do Mike on the other side. And what that does is that opens things up in the middle, which again gets us Kevin to the paint. So those are the things I think Chase does for us offensively. Defensively, the biggest thing that we can hope for from Chase is that he doesn't get into foul trouble. Against Texas, he had 4 fouls in the first half. I've never done that before. Play a person with 3 fouls in the first half and let him get their 4th. But to his credit, he didn't get another foul the rest of the game when we brought him back in. So we're watching that growth. But defensively, he has to stay engaged in the game, not watch the basketball, and make sure that he focuses on not cheering up someone so hard that he gets a call for a foul. We need to keep him in the game because his speed, he's the fastest player we have on the team now, so we need that speed, especially late if we have to press.
I ask this a lot between coaches when they're gearing up for championships and everything. Do you tell your players anything different, or do you prepare them any different when getting ready for a tournament like this?
Not really. We talk about, instead of, our schedule's a little different than all the other coaches, at least, Stan's and Pat's, in that we have to focus on 3 or 4 teams every weekend. So for us, this is a luxury. We focus on one team and one team only, and since we've found out our seed, that's all we focused on. So that's been a little bit different than what the guys are used to. Team meetings usually, are 2 or 3 teams we're watching, we're game planning for. Our sole focus is on the University of Illinois, and tonight's team meeting will be more about their offense and defense. So from that standpoint, this afternoon scrimmage won't be a whole lot different. The biggest thing we want from them is to be sharp. And we had a really good Thursday practice. We had a really average Friday practice. So I gave them the weekend off. Hopefully, that's something we don't normally do. Let's take 2 days off in a row. My hope there is rest. It's been a long season. They had back-to-back weekends. They had 8 games in 8 days. So what I'm hoping from this rest will be a sharp practice going into the national tournament.
And then lastly, you'll be the 6th seed for the tournament, and you'll play Illinois on Thursday, as you just said. You've played them twice in the last month. What are your team's thoughts as you get ready for that first-round game?
We haven't played our best basketball against them. And like I said, we have focused on Illinois since we found out our seed last week. And to a man, we all agree that we haven't played our best basketball. We had a really good shot at beating them here at home. and we left a lot of points on the floor. When we watched the game over and over and over again, there were a lot of shots that we can make that we missed. So that was a winnable game. In Illinois, again, it was one of those games that there was probably 2 games that I would look back on this season and say I wasn't happy with. That would be one of them. And really what happened was we came out, we shot poorly, we didn't execute offensively, and we didn't get back in defensive transition. All things that we can control and we're better at. And so those are the things that we look forward to changing as we prepare for our first round matchup with them. They're a good team, they're a fast team. They have a young man named Ryan Nieswander who's an All-American as well. Him and Mikey Adams battle for the same classification as the first team and second team All-American. Great shooter, he's a senior like Mike, and it all flows through him. They have an ability that we haven't been able to stop yet of running their offense and running a 2-man game that is simple to diagnose, but our guys have yet to stop it all the time. So those are the things we know we have to take care of going in. But at the end of the day, we're a pretty even team with them, and this should be a really good matchup.
All right, Jim. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.